The invitation almost felt like a mistake. It arrived in a thick cream envelope, my name written in elegant gold script that did not match the life I had been living for the past 3 years. I turned it over twice before opening it, half expecting it to disappear in my hands. But it didn't. My sister's engagement dinner. Formal. Exclusive. By invitation only. And somehow, I was invited. That alone should have been the first warning. We had not spoken properly in years. Not since everything fell apart. Not since I became the person the family preferred not to mention. The one who made things uncomfortable. The one who did not fit the polished image they worked so hard to maintain. Still, I went. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the small, stubborn part of me that refused to believe blood could turn that cold. Or maybe it was something else, something I could not fully explain yet. The venue was everything I expected and more. Luxury dripping from every corner. Crystal lights hanging like frozen stars. Tables dressed in white and gold. Soft music floating through the air like it belonged there more than the people did. It was not just a dinner. It was a statement. And I was not part of it. The moment I stepped inside, I felt it. Eyes turning. Whispers starting. Not loud enough to hear clearly, but enough to understand. My clothes were simple. Clean, but nowhere near the level of everyone else in the room. I had chosen them carefully, knowing I would stand out, but hoping it would not matter. It did. I spotted her near the center of the room. My sister. Perfect as always. Dressed like she belonged on the cover of a magazine. Smiling, laughing, surrounded by people who admired her, people who believed in the version of her she showed the world. For a second, I thought she might ignore me. Pretend I wasn't there. But then her eyes found mine. And her smile changed. Not softer. Sharper. Calculated. She moved toward me, slow and confident, every step drawing more attention. Conversations quieted as she approached, like the room itself was preparing for something. I should have left right then. But I didn't. I stayed. Right in front of her. Close enough to see the truth behind her expression. And then it happened. Not quietly. Not privately. In front of everyone. Her voice cut through the room with perfect clarity as she looked me up and down, taking in every detail she planned to use against me. She said beggars were not allowed at her engagement dinner. The room froze. For a moment, no one reacted. Then came the laughter. Low at first. Then louder. Spreading across the room like it had been waiting for permission. My chest tightened, but I did not move. Not yet. Because something about the way she said it, something about the timing, the confidence, the audience. This was not just humiliation. This was planned. And what she did not know was that I had not come alone. Not really. The laughter did not fade quickly. It rolled through the room in waves, feeding off itself, growing louder as more people joined in. Some tried to hide it behind polite smiles. Others made no effort at all. Phones lifted slightly, subtle but intentional, capturing the moment they thought was worth remembering. My humiliation had become their entertainment. But I did not react. Not the way they expected. I kept my posture steady, my face calm, even as the words settled heavily in my chest. My sister watched closely, waiting for me to break, waiting for the exact reaction she had designed this moment to create. Tears. Anger. Escape. Something that would complete the scene. But I gave her none of it. That was the first crack. Small. Almost invisible. But I saw it in her eyes. A flicker of confusion, quickly masked by another polished smile. She stepped closer, lowering her voice just enough to make it seem private, but still loud enough for the nearest guests to hear. She asked if I had misunderstood the kind of event this was. Suggested I should have known better than to show up like this. Her tone was light, almost playful, but every word carried weight. She was not just pushing me out. She was making sure everyone believed I deserved it. I let a second pass. Then another. Still nothing from me. The room began to shift. Curiosity replaced amusement. People leaned in slightly, sensing that something was off. This was not unfolding the way it should. Behind my sister, I noticed movement. Her fiancé, standing a few steps back, watching everything carefully. His expression was harder to read. Not amused. Not entirely comfortable either. But he said nothing. That silence mattered. I turned my attention back to her, studying her face the same way she had studied mine moments ago. Perfect makeup. Perfect smile. Perfect control. At least on the surface. Because I knew something she didn't. Something no one in that room knew yet. And the longer I stayed quiet, the more the tension grew. She leaned in slightly, her patience thinning. She needed a reaction. Needed to regain control of the moment before it slipped too far. That was when she made her second mistake. She gestured toward the entrance and told me to leave before things became embarrassing. But things were already embarrassing. Just not for me. A slow breath filled my lungs as I finally moved. Not toward the door. Toward the center of the room. That single step changed everything. The whispers stopped. The laughter died. Every eye followed me now, confusion replacing certainty. My sister's expression tightened for the first time. Because she realized too late. I was not there to beg for respect. I was there to take something back. And I was not planning to do it quietly. The center of the room felt colder than the rest of the hall. Every step I took echoed louder than it should have, as if the silence itself was amplifying the moment. Conversations had completely stopped now. Even the music seemed distant, like it no longer belonged here. All attention shifted. Exactly where I needed it. I could feel my sister's eyes burning into my back, her control slipping with every second I refused to follow her script. This was no longer her performance. It was mine. I stopped near the main table, close enough for everyone to see me clearly. My hands remained steady at my sides, my expression calm, even as my heart pounded with precision. Not fear. Focus. Behind me, I heard her heels approaching faster this time. Sharper. Impatient. She moved beside me, her voice lower now, tighter, asking what I thought I was doing. The sweetness was gone, replaced by something far more revealing. Pressure. I turned slightly, just enough to meet her gaze. For a brief second, the world around us faded. It was just the two of us again. Like before everything changed. But this time, I was not the one standing beneath her. I spoke quietly, controlled, telling her she should let me finish what I came here to do. That was all it took. Her composure cracked again, more visibly now. Not enough for everyone to see, but enough for those paying close attention. And people were watching closely, especially her fiancé. I noticed the way he shifted his stance, the way his focus sharpened. He was no longer just observing. He was starting to question. That mattered more than anything. Because this was not just about humiliation anymore. This was about exposure. My sister straightened slightly, forcing a smile back onto her face as she turned toward the guests, trying to reclaim control of the narrative. She made a light comment about misunderstandings, about family dynamics, attempting to smooth over the tension before it escalated further. But it was too late. The room had already changed. People were no longer laughing. They were waiting. Waiting for something they could not yet define. I reached into my bag slowly. That single motion pulled every eye back to me. Curiosity sharpened instantly, cutting through whatever fragile calm she had tried to rebuild. My sister noticed it too. And this time, her reaction was immediate. Her hand moved quickly, trying to stop me, her voice dropping into a warning that no one else could hear clearly. But I had already taken it out. A small envelope. Simple. Unremarkable. Until you knew what was inside. I held it up just enough for the nearest guests to see. Then I looked directly at her. And for the first time that night, she looked afraid. Because she finally understood. This was never about showing up uninvited. This was about timing. And hers had just run out. The envelope felt heavier than it looked. Not because of its size, but because of what it carried. Truth has a weight people underestimate until it is placed directly in front of them. And right now, everyone in that room could feel it, even without knowing why. My sister's hand hovered near mine, no longer trying to grab the envelope, but not fully pulling away either. She was calculating, adjusting, trying to decide whether stopping me would cause more damage than letting me continue. That hesitation was everything. I tilted the envelope slightly, enough for her to see the corner of what was inside. Just a glimpse. Her face changed instantly. color drained. Not dramatically, but enough for someone like me to notice. Her breathing shifted, almost imperceptible, but real. She knew. Which meant I had been right all along. A murmur started somewhere in the crowd, soft, but spreading quickly. People sensed something deeper now. This was no longer awkward family tension. This was something sharper. Something real. Her fiancé stepped closer. That move alone shifted the energy again. He was no longer standing behind her. He positioned himself slightly to the side, closer to me than before. Not protective. Not aggressive. Just present. Watching. That made her nervous. I could see it in the way she straightened her shoulders, forcing confidence back into place. She tried to laugh it off again, making a comment about me bringing old family drama into a celebration, trying to frame me as the problem before I even spoke. But her voice lacked its earlier strength. Because she knew I was not empty-handed. I finally opened the envelope. Slowly. Deliberately. Inside were photographs. Not many. Just enough. I pulled one out and held it between my fingers, letting it face her first. Her reaction was immediate. A sharp inhale she could not control. That was the moment her fiancé saw it. He stepped closer, his eyes narrowing slightly as he tried to get a clearer look. My sister moved quickly, trying to block his view, but she was too late. He had already seen enough. Confusion crossed his face first. Then something else. Doubt. I turned the photo outward. Now the closest guests could see it too. A clear image. My sister. Not at home. Not at work. Somewhere else. With someone else. Not just standing. Not just talking. Something far more intimate. The kind of moment that does not belong in secrets if everything is as perfect as she claims. The whispers returned instantly, louder this time, sharper, cutting through the room like broken glass. Her fiancé did not speak. He did not need to. His silence said more than any confrontation could. My sister turned toward me, her composure completely fractured now, her eyes no longer controlled, no longer calculated. Desperate. Because the story she built so carefully was starting to collapse. And I had only shown them one piece. The room no longer felt like a celebration. It felt like a courtroom without a judge, where every guest had suddenly become a witness. The air was tight, charged with curiosity and tension that refused to settle. No one looked away now. They wanted more. My sister knew it too. Her voice came out sharper than before, trying to regain control, trying to label everything as a misunderstanding before it could spread further. She stepped closer, lowering her tone, telling me to stop before I ruined everything. But everything was already slipping. I held the photo steady, not shaking, not backing down. The moment had passed where she could dismiss me as an embarrassment. Now I was a problem she could not contain. Her fiancé finally spoke. Not loudly, but enough. He asked a simple question. Who was in the picture? That question cut deeper than anything I could have said, because it forced her to answer. And she had none ready. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came out. For the first time in her life, she was not prepared. Not in control. Not ahead of the narrative. The whispers around us grew louder. Names were being guessed. Assumptions forming. People leaned closer, trying to connect the image with what they thought they knew about her perfect life. I reached back into the envelope. That movement alone made her panic. Her hand shot forward again, this time faster, more desperate, trying to stop me before I could reveal anything else. But I stepped back just enough, keeping distance, keeping control. Her fiancé noticed that too. And his expression hardened. That was the shift. Doubt turned into suspicion. I pulled out another photo. Then another. Each one told the same story from a different angle. Different days. Different outfits. Same man. This was not a mistake. This was a pattern. The room reacted instantly. Gasps. Low voices rising. Someone dropped a glass in the background, the sound sharp but quickly forgotten under the weight of what was unfolding. My sister shook her head, denying without words, her composure completely gone now. She tried to laugh again, but it sounded hollow, forced, nothing like before. No one believed it. Because evidence does not need explanation when it is clear enough. Her fiancé took a step back. That single step created distance that felt impossible to close. He looked at her differently now. Not with admiration. Not with trust. With questions she could not answer fast enough. I lowered my hand slowly, letting the photos remain visible just long enough for the truth to settle into every corner of the room. Then I spoke. Calm. Steady. I said she should not worry about embarrassment anymore. Because the truth had already arrived. And this time, it was not leaving quietly. No one tried to laugh this time. The room had shifted too far for that. What started as entertainment had turned into something uncomfortable, something people could not easily walk away from. Conversations broke into smaller whispers, tighter circles, everyone choosing sides without saying it out loud. My sister stood frozen for a moment, her eyes moving rapidly from face to face, searching for support that was no longer there. The admiration she had built so carefully was cracking under pressure, and she could feel it slipping through her fingers. Her fiancé did not look at her anymore. That was the part she could not handle. She turned toward him, stepping closer, her voice lowering again, trying to explain, trying to control the damage before it spread any further. But her words lacked structure. They came out rushed, uneven, not the polished confidence everyone was used to. He did not respond. He just kept looking at the photos in my hand. That silence stretched, heavy and unforgiving. I watched it all carefully, not rushing, not pushing. This moment needed to unfold on its own. The truth had already been placed in the center. Now it was doing the work for me. But then something unexpected happened. He looked up. Not at her. At me. His expression had changed again, this time more focused, more direct. He asked where I got the photos. It was a fair question. And it carried more weight than anything else said so far. Because the answer would decide everything. My sister reacted instantly, cutting in before I could speak, telling him it did not matter, that this was clearly an attempt to ruin her, to create drama out of nothing. She tried to pull his attention back, to redirect the moment before it slipped further out of her control. But it was too late. He was already thinking, questioning. I held his gaze and answered calmly. I told him I did not take them. A small pause followed. Then I added something she never expected. I said I received them anonymously. That single detail changed the direction completely. Confusion spread across his face again, deeper this time. He turned back to her, studying her reaction instead of the photos. And her reaction said everything. Because she did not look surprised. She looked scared. Not of me. Of something else. That was the twist she could not hide. Someone else knew. Someone else had been watching. And they had chosen me to expose it. The room felt different again, heavier, more unpredictable. Because now this was no longer just about betrayal. It was about who else was involved. And why they had waited until tonight. My sister stepped back slowly, her balance no longer steady, her control completely gone. For the first time, she looked like she was losing everything. The word anonymous did not fade. It settled into the room like a second shock, deeper than the photos themselves. People stopped whispering for a moment, trying to process what it meant. This was no longer just a private mistake exposed at the wrong time. This meant someone had been watching her. Closely. Carefully. And had chosen this exact night to reveal it. My sister's breathing became uneven, her composure breaking in ways she could no longer hide. Her eyes darted toward the entrance, then toward the back of the hall, scanning faces like she was searching for someone who might be standing there, waiting. That reaction did more damage than anything I had shown. Her fiancé noticed it instantly. He followed her gaze, then looked back at her with a new kind of understanding. Not confusion. Not doubt. Something sharper. Realization. He asked her another question. Who else knew? She shook her head quickly, denying again, but it felt empty now. Every denial made her look less convincing, less controlled, more exposed. The perfect image she had built was unraveling in front of everyone, thread by thread. I remained still, letting the moment breathe. Because this was not the end of it. Not even close. Her fiancé stepped back again, creating more distance, his body language shifting completely. He was no longer part of her side. He was separating himself, piece by piece, from everything connected to her. That shift was visible to everyone, and it changed how they looked at her. Then came the voice no one expected. From across the room. Low, clear, confident. A man stepped forward from the crowd, someone who had blended in until now, unnoticed, unimportant. But the moment he moved closer, my sister's entire body stiffened. Not surprise. Recognition. Fear. The room fell silent again as he approached, his eyes fixed on her, not on me, not on the photos, just on her. He stopped a few steps away. Close enough. He said her name once. Nothing more. But the way he said it carried history. Something unfinished. Something dangerous. Her fiancé turned toward him immediately, his expression tightening, trying to understand how this stranger fit into everything unfolding. But my sister did not speak. She could not. Because whatever connection existed between them was real and undeniable. The man glanced briefly at me, then back at her as if confirming something silently. Then he spoke again, calm but direct. He said she should tell them the rest. The rest. That word hit harder than anything before. Because it meant this was not the full story. Not even close. My sister took a step back, her balance faltering again, her eyes filled with something that had not been there all night. Panic. Because the truth she tried to hide was about to grow far bigger than she ever planned. The room held its breath. No one moved. No one spoke. Every eye shifted between my sister and the man who had just stepped forward. Whatever control she once had was gone now, replaced by a silence that demanded answers. She looked at him like she was seeing a ghost she thought would never return. Her fiancé broke the silence first. His voice was firmer now, no hesitation left. He asked who the man was and what he meant by the rest. The question was simple, but it carried the weight of everything collapsing in front of him. My sister tried to respond, but nothing came out. Because the truth was no longer something she could shape. It was already here. The man stepped closer, not aggressively, but with purpose. His presence alone shifted the energy again. He was not nervous. Not unsure. He had nothing to lose. He said they had been involved for over a year. The words landed like a shockwave. Gasps filled the room. The whispers returned, louder, sharper, impossible to control now. This was no longer speculation. It was confirmation. Her fiancé's face changed instantly. Not just hurt. Betrayal. Deep and undeniable. But the man did not stop there. He added that it was never a secret to everyone. Just to the one person who mattered most tonight. That detail cut even deeper. Because it meant this was not a single mistake hidden in the dark. It was a reality others already knew. My sister finally found her voice, but it came out broken, defensive, trying to deny, trying to twist the narrative back into something manageable. She stepped toward her fiancé, reaching for him, but he pulled back before she could touch him. That rejection said everything. The distance between them was no longer physical. It was final. I watched quietly as everything unfolded, the same room that had laughed at me now turning against the person who created that moment. The balance had shifted completely. Karma did not arrive slowly. It arrived all at once. The man looked at me briefly again, a silent acknowledgement, as if confirming that his part was done. Then he stepped back, disappearing into the same crowd that had once ignored him. But his impact stayed. Her fiancé removed the ring from his finger slowly. No anger. No shouting. Just clarity. He placed it on the table beside her and walked away. No one stopped him. No one defended her. The silence that followed was heavier than anything before. My sister stood alone now, surrounded by people but completely isolated, her perfect image shattered beyond repair. I turned toward the exit without saying another word. Because I did not need to. The humiliation she gave me at the door had come back stronger in the center of the room. And this time, everyone saw it. If you like this story, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also tell me in the comments that where are you watching this story from. See you in the next one.